Camera rolling. Ready?
Here,
Ready to start,
you need
Amy?
this here.
We begin in an empty corridor. Our protagonist Joy crouched on the ground, hands shaking, mobile phone in hand, her legs bouncing against the ground, breathing erratic. There's a party of some sort going on. We hear the music and chatter of people in a room somewhere further away. We see over Joy's shoulder and her phone screen lights up with a new message under the name Jacob. We don't know who he is and we see the messages come in.
I can't do this anymore, Joy. I'm watching you kill yourself.
The typing bubble stops, hesitating for a moment, and the final message comes through.
It's over. Get help.
If we weren't sure she was breaking down before, we are now. Joy lets out a sob, shoving her phone into her back pocket and pulling out a small plastic bag. The camera focuses in on her hand and we see it's a bag of pills. Her previous behaviour and state is now explained. She's an addict. Joy takes the pill, tears falling down her face, and the camera stills in front of her. She stares forward, looking blankly into nowhere. Joy's eyes close slowly and we fade to black. Same hallway, different red light. Joy eventually comes around and her eyes fluttering open. We don't know how long she's been out and apparently neither does she. We now see Joy looking a lot more dishevelled than before. Makeup's different. Tights are ripped and the dress straps are barely up. Her breathing speeds up. She blinks a bit, getting used to the change of lighting. The corridor is now dimly lit in red LED lighting. She looks around confused. She's never had a trip like this before. Slowly getting to her feet, looking ahead of her, we see a single door. A faint buzzing, humming sound coming from it. Joy is drawn towards it like a moth to a flame, and her feet seem to be carrying her forward by themselves. She attempts to steady herself as she walks in a trance down the corridor, reaching out, running her hands along the artwork decorating the walls. She stumbles further down the hallway. We see a shot of Joy from behind. A painting falls from the wall and she glances down at it on the floor before continuing onto the door. As she reaches the door, the camera comes into focus and she reaches out for the curtain. The music begins to swell and her hand reaches out, finally landing on the curtain. As Joy opens, the purple light floods in as her jaw drops.
What the fuck?
The camera whip pans and we see Joy, but not as we know her. A version of herself she's finding it hard to look at. She's pale, exhausted, and looks just about on death's door.
Hello, Joy.
Her voice croaks, almost straining to get the words out. Present Joy blinks furiously, not quite believing what's in front of her.
What is this?
Future Joy smirks.
You silly. Isn't that obvious?
You can't be me. I'm me. I can't talk to me.
Well, look at what you're doing.
Future Joy seems to mock, basking in her confusion and fear.
But no, I'm confused. This isn't real. Everything is different.
Joy gestures around herself, referring to the lights. The sudden silence in the door behind her is now shut.
Funny, isn't it? Almost like another world.
Another world.
Present Joy finishes her sentence under her breath.
It's drugs. I'm on drugs. This isn't real and I'm tripping.
Joy begins to panic, breathing getting heavier, and she begins shaking her arms almost as if trying to disappear.
Oh my god, wake up. You're here right now. Look at me.
She gestures to herself, skin white in contrast with the room's dark lighting. Darkness under her eyes aging her drastically. Cheeks hollowed out. She's thinner, bruises along her arms. She looks dead.
Look at yourself, Joy.
Her present Joy has stopped her frantic pacing. She's still, eyes almost sympathetic at the sight in front of her, coming to terms with what she's seeing. Future Joy continues.
We have nobody. You know Mum gave up the minute you started asking for money. Jacob's long gone. Moved on. He's got himself a new girlfriend. They're just what you wanted to be.
This strikes a nerve with Joy, and she stiffens at the mention of Jacob.
You just couldn't help yourself though, could you? He was patient with you. More patient than he should have been. You let him down and you chose the drugs over him.
I tried. I did try.
Joy stutters, like she's trying to convince herself what she's saying is true. Future Joy scoffs, rolling her eyes.
You can't lie to me. I'm you. I was you. And we both know we didn't try, Joy.
Okay, so what the fuck is this then? You're here to call me stupid, to remind me of what I've lost. I already know. Save yourself the bother.
No. Although you deserve to hear how much you've messed everything up, I kind of have some empathy for you. Seeing I've just sort of been there, done that.
Future Joy smirks. There's a sort of irony in this all. Her past self doesn't see the humour, raising a brow at her attempt to make light of this all. Future Joy continues.
You can change it all.
Present Joy immediately begins shaking her head.
I can't. I'm too far in. I can barely hold a conversation without being high anymore. There's no changing.
Do you look like me?
Present Joy furrows her brow.
Well, yes.
No, Joy. We're not exactly identical right now, are we?
She's talking about the corpse-like state. Joy knows she is. She's being stubborn.
No, we're not.
She mumbles.
Exactly. You don't look like me. People wouldn't assume you go home every night and snort coke off of your bedside table. You still carry our youth. Lucky you.
She smiles at her past self, admiring just how she used to look.
Turn around.
The crack in the door behind present Joy begins glowing red again.
Turn around. Walk back through the door and change it all. Do it while you have the chance.
But you said you're me. Inevitably, I'll end up like this, won't I?
Future Joy shrugs.
That's all up to you, whether you take this as a wake-up call or not.
It's not as easy as that, though. I can't just quit it.
Of course it's not going to be easy. You're an addict. Addicts have to recover.
Joy says nothing. She's taking this all in.
Or, you could stay right here with me, live like this.
Joy begins shaking her head furiously.
No, I can't stay here.
Then go, Joy. There's the door.
What if I can't, though? If I leave and it's too hard?
You want to be clean, don't you? You want Jacob. You want your family back. You want your own family.
Joy nods.
Then go fight for it.
It seems to hit Joy all at once, like a ton of bricks. She's seen it all, what will become of her, and she's been given the chance to change it, if this is all real, that is.
Am I really dreaming right now?
Does it feel like you're dreaming?
Joy shakes her head.
No, it feels real.
Then it's real.
Joy spins on her heel. She's got to leave. Her eyes seem so suddenly filled with hope. She turns around once more to look at her frail self.
Thank you.
They share a smile. Joy reaches for the door and the screen floods with red light.
Fuck.
Hold on. 6 minutes. 7. So for me, like the other read, quite fast.
Mm-hmm.